Hey y'all, welcome to 4 Sets of 10, where we talk about how to navigate your health and body goals as a woman in your 40s. Today, our 4 points are I'm going to talk about time, how we don't have enough of it, and how we can navigate that. 2, how often you should be weighing yourself to maximize your results. 3, how many sets and reps is the best number? And 4, the one nutritional value that is completely underrated that can skyrocket your results. All right, so those are our 4 points. I'm going to go ahead and get right into it. So the first one we're going to talk about is the time factor. I, just like you, have a lot of stuff going on all the time. And when I was training people, I always knew that there were going to be two things that really stop people from reaching their goals. And the two things people always said was motivation and not having enough time. The time one is very tricky because the things that we occupy with our time are usually things that we don't have a lot of power over. And those things have to stay. But we all have to admit that we do have things that we can eliminate to help us with our goals. So I think that the first step in being able to have more time is just to identify where you're spending your time. I don't think you should go into having a plan. I don't think that, and I know this is probably, against anything everyone else would say, but I think knowledge is the first step. So instead of saying, I'm going to do this at this time, I'm going to work around this, first really look at your calendar, write down your task, write down what you usually do on the weekend, what you do on a Monday. Just take the time to really sit for a while and really break down how much you're spending on what. And then from there, you can start to make changes, because the thing is, people, they get overwhelmed and they try to give these general guidelines about when they're going to start working out, what they're going to get rid of, and they haven't really thought it out. So my first tip for you to really start being able to fit your workouts in the way you want to is to get a really good picture of what you are doing already. And I suggest writing this down, getting a journal, or even just having a calendar. And instead of putting things on there, putting what has already happened there. And just have a journal dedicated just to that. And then it will give you a bigger picture. All right? So that's what I think you should do when it comes to, really just getting a grasp on how you are going to navigate your fitness journey, because, knowledge is power. All right? 2, let's talk about weighing yourself. Now, this can be a very controversial topic because there are different scales. So a lot of people will say you should weigh yourself like once a week. Some people will say once a month. Some people will say don't worry about the scale, just pay attention to your progress photos, or, just pay attention to the journey. And there is one controversial one, and that is to weigh yourself every day. I am on that one. That is the one that I suggest. And it's actually been proven with science that it's the best thing. And this is why. When you weigh yourself week to week, you are giving yourself too many odds to get the number you don't want. So if you say, okay, I'm going to weigh myself every Friday, you might weigh, I'm just going to use 200 as a reference point. Let's say you weigh 200 pounds one week, and then the next week you weigh 202. That doesn't tell you a story. In your mind, it triggers that you gain 2 pounds, even if it doesn't mean it's true. Because if you weigh yourself every day, you will see that your weight was up and down the whole time. And I think that this really helps with your psychology, because if you see that it's fluctuating all the time, you don't get as attached to the numbers. All right, so I really do think that the weighing yourself every day thing is not only good for just statistics, because it definitely gives you a better picture, especially because you can see it. Like if you're logging it, especially, you'll see the graph. So you'll see what the trend is, if it's going down, if it's going up. If you're doing that once a week, you're only getting 4 readings for the month as opposed to 30 or 31. So just numbers game is telling you that you're going to get a better result from weighing yourself every day. Now, the only time that I, argue against this is if weighing yourself is going to cause something serious. So people who have eating disorders or get a very strong anxiety or health scare or anything mental or even physical, you should not be doing it. Okay, so I just want to put that caveat out there. There are always reasons not to do something, and those are the reasons not to weigh yourself every day. But if you're just, trying to lose weight or gain weight or whatever you're trying to do, weighing yourself every day is very, very, very helpful. Okay, despite what other people got to say. I don't care what other people got to say. I'm talking about what got results for my clients and what the science says, okay? And if you don't know, because, you might not know, my teachings, okay, this is not, I've had this channel for a while, like I did take a break, but I've always really paid attention to science. So just know when I tell you something, I looked into it, okay? I ain't just bringing stuff up just to sound good, all right? So anyways, that I digress, okay? Okay, then we're going to talk about how many sets and reps you should do. So this one is very dependent on where you are in your journey. But if you're just starting out, I would say 2 or 3 sets is good. But reps will depend on where you are in your journey. Let me swipe this text up because it's messing up my flow. There we go. This is all very, as I go, so I'm not re-recording anything. But anyways, so if you have never worked out before and you're just starting, I would recommend you just do 2 sets. And the reason for that is you want to know how your body is going to adapt to things. Okay, so the first workouts, in my opinion, are not supposed to be to really quote unquote, really challenge yourself. You want to do 2 sets, I would say 10 reps, and see how you feel. So you do that workout, do the 2 sets and 10 reps, and then you take a day or 2 to not do anything and you gauge how your body feels. And then after that, you can say, okay, that wasn't too bad. I am going to go to 3 sets. And that's when you're starting to get into your typical recommendation. So 3 or 4 sets is usually the standard, 3 being the most common standard. And the way you'll know if you're doing the right ones is how your reps feel. All right, so this is something I feel like a lot of people really don't understand when it comes to, and I did a video on changing your workouts or whatever, but one thing that people don't understand is that you need to progress. So the way to know if your sets and reps are the right number is to see how you feel when you get to the 3rd set and the last few reps. If you're getting through 3 sets and at the last 3 reps you are still doing okay, that means you're not doing enough sets, reps, or weight. It doesn't always have to be the number. You can always increase weight, and that's the way I would gauge it in the beginning, but it does give you a story on the sets and reps as well. So if I was you, I would definitely, well, if you're just starting out, I already told you what to do. But if you're already working out, I think, again, knowledge is power. Pay attention to how you feel when you're doing the reps and sets that you're doing already. Okay? Sorry, I gotta clear my throat. Let me clear my throat. So if you're, doing your typical amount of weight and you're finding that you're not really challenged, that's when you know that you can add a couple. Man, my throat. Sorry, y'all. Okay, it's better now. That's when you know you can add a couple of reps, okay? So that is my recommendation for reps and sets. But just know that 3 sets of 10 or 4 sets of 10 or 3 sets of 12 or 4 sets of 12 is the main standard. I personally, with the program that I'm doing right now, which is not my program, I'm doing 3 sets of whatever it's recommending. And that's usually 10 or 12 reps. All right. So that is that. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the hidden secret sauce ingredient nutritional value that people really don't talk about enough. Everybody talks about protein so much. And yes, protein is super, super important, immensely important. But one that is not talked about enough is fiber. Okay? If you increase your fiber, I'm telling you, it is going to be a game changer. And the reason for this is fiber, its whole job, its entire point of its existence is to keep you full. Okay? It is to prevent you from being hungry all the time. So if you have something, I am struggling with my throat, y'all. Let me tell you, I don't know what's happening right now, but something is going on. I am struggling, but I'm going to get this point out, okay? So, yes, I'm going to get it out. I'm going to stick with my fiber because it's that important, all right? So, yes, if you increase your fiber, it's going to make a big deal because it is its job. It is supposed to keep you full. And so obviously, you know, it don't take no rocket science. If something is keeping you full, you're not going to eat as much. And most people do not get enough fiber. You're supposed to get about 27 grams of fiber a day. You're going to get that from, you know, your carbs, which there's nothing wrong with them. And I'll do a whole point about those too. You'll get it from a lot of your carbs and then a lot of fruit. And starting to monitor it is a really smart thing to do. And I did, you know, a whole thing on food logging and how helpful it can be. But fiber is one of the things we don't even pay attention to even when it comes to that. So we pay so much attention to our macros. So, you know, our fat, our protein, our carbs, and all the other little nutrients things, they're there, but we don't really pay attention to them. So I think that if you do add fiber, you will have a much better time when it comes to your hunger. And we know that when you're working out more and you're doing more, and it goes back to the activity thing, the more you're doing, the more hungry you get. So that's just giving you a little bit extra support in not eating that ice cream. At least not a whole tub of it, you know, it's going to cut back a little something. Maybe you'll just have, you know, like a little bit and not the whole thing, you know. So you just got to take your wins and get whatever help you can wherever you can. And fiber, I'm telling you, it is a game changer. All right. So that's it for today. Hopefully you found some of this very helpful. I would love to know what you want me to talk about. I have kind of an idea what topics are very popular with people and what a lot of people wonder about because I've been in the fitness industry so long, but I want to know what you want to know because, you know, I don't know everything and I only talk to who I talk to, and there's so many more of you out there. So I definitely want you to keep me in the loop on what you want. And then also comment on anything that I talked about today. Ask me any questions in the comments and I will do my best to get to you. So yeah, holla at your girl. Talk in the comments, okay? All right, so that's it for today, y'all. Hope you have a great day. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, share to everyone in her 40s that you think will benefit from the channel. Other than that, have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.